This is Tom Dillon, the Lifetime Liberal, and today's rant will be, today is June 24th, 2016, and the title of this rant will be, "The GOP War on Women Continues with Zika Funding." Now, there was a lot going on this week, so a lot of this was under the table, so to speak, but it really got my blood boiling because, again, it shows what type of bastards these people, the Republicans, are who are controlling the House and Senate right now. Now, the Zika virus we have known about for a long time. It came to a head in October of 2015 when there were numerous cases reported in Brazil, and we knew that it was going to be coming up to the United States. The CDC was all on top of it. I guess they were working with NIH. And President Obama presented a bill to Congress in February of this year asking for $1.9 billion to do as much as we possibly could to head off the Zika virus. Now, if a woman gets infected with the Zika virus, that there's a great chance that a child will be born with microcephaly. And when a child is born with that, they have an abnormally small head, they have intellectual disabilities, they have poor motor function, they have poor speech function, they have abnormal facial features, they have seizures, they have dwarfism. Some of them will never ever be able to take care of themselves. It's a very, very scary situation. And so the CDC came up with a plan. Obama presented that plan to Congress, and the House and the Senate have dicked on it for the last 5 months. And they just came up with passing funding on it this week, so to speak. Remember, Obama asked for $1.9 billion. The Senate was willing to give him $1.1 billion. The House was only willing to give him $622 million. The House and the Senate wanted to cut funds out of the Ebola area and put that to Zika, where we still need those funds in the Ebola area right now. So that's what, that's the way their mentality is. Let's just get, Ebola's not a big issue right now. No need to do any training. No need to help all those countries that need it, so that if they do have an outbreak, they can contain it as fast as possible. We don't need to do that. We'll just take some of that money and put it over on the Zika. So they put that money on the Zika, and of course the House and the Senate Democrats are furious. And most of the people are furious also. Is that, as an example, there was $50 million in it to go to Planned Parenthood to help with educating women on the Zika virus, on how to get it and how to control it, and also on contraception, so that they could educate women and encourage women to use contraception so that they would not become pregnant, so they would not pass that on to their child and have a child that was born like that. So they did that. What else did they do? They cut back environmental regulations on pesticides. So, that had nothing to do with the Zika virus. Had nothing to do with it whatsoever. So they knew what they were doing. And of course, they also know that, I think that the House is a little bit like the Catholic Church. A lot of white men trying to decide how they're going to regulate and control women of color and poor women, so to speak, because that's who it's going to affect the most. Up to 2 million women could be affected or impacted by the virus in the United States. So you would think that we would do as much as possible in terms of preventive care, as opposed to what the House and Senate did, or the House did specifically, which was more on mosquito control, more on vaccinations. But we don't have. We don't have a vaccination for it yet. We need to deal with what's going on now. Yes, we should be putting money towards vaccines, but that won't be available today. That won't be available tomorrow. We need to do something now. Education and contraception for those that need it and those that want it. Okay? So, what the GOP does is that it's limiting contraception and taking abortion completely out of the picture, which is very similar to what has gone down in other countries, Central and South America, where access to contraception, access to abortion is severely limited. In fact, what's the right term to say this? Google searches for women to get the abortion pill, women who have been infected by the Zika virus in Central and South America. Those searches have skyrocketed, well over 100% in these countries, because women don't have any other alternatives there. And the Republicans are doing the same thing to women here in the United States. They're limiting their options in terms of contraception. They're taking it off the table quick, because in two areas specifically, Texas and Florida, have extremely restrictive abortion things that go on there. So, and of course, Dr. Paul Ryan, because he is a doctor, because he knows what's best for women, has basically said it is a responsible plan, that assures the administration will have all the resources necessary to protect the public. And that's not what's going on. It's a bunch of white men slut-shaming women and telling them that they're bad, putting out as few resources as possible, limiting what can be done to help preventive care in terms of the Zika virus, slut-shaming them, and then also cutting back on environmental regulation when it comes to pesticides, something completely different. And again, this is what our sisters and brothers on the Republican Party do constantly, day in and day out. They take forever to make a decision. All right. They try and use funds from other areas, saying you don't need funds from Ebola anymore, okay, because we don't have an outbreak now. We'll deal with that the next time it comes out. We'll only give you a third of the amount of money that you want, because we want to limit, because we don't want to help anybody. We just want to pretend like we're helping people. And by in the meantime, we'll cut back environmental regulations on something that don't have anything to do with it here at all. All right. And then in the meantime, we'll talk about what responsible work that we have done in assuring that we have enough resources to handle the thing. Sad, really a terrible thing. And again, this is what our Republican friends do day in and day out to the average working American, to mothers, to women, to poor people. And remember, this is going to be mostly in that whole area from Florida to Texas, a little bit further north. Very poor states, very limited access to contraception, very limited access to education, very limited access to abortion. And they want to continue that. They just want to continue that. And again, it's just they want to determine what is best for other people. Very sad. Very sad. Again, a good reason to nominate and elect Hillary Clinton, because as a woman, she knows how difficult that a situation like that might be for a woman. We need to move on and get something else going in our country, because this is not the way for it to go.